Good morning students. So this is class 12th physics and today we'll be starting chapter number 10, that is wave optics. Okay, so this is the lecture number 1 of chapter number 10. So in previous lecture you have studied about ray optics. So first of all let me tell you the basic differences between ray optics and wave optics. Okay, so in ray optics you studied the phenomena like reflection, refraction. All those were macroscopic phenomena, but in wave optics we will be studying microscopic phenomena, that is interference, diffraction, polarization, etc. Okay, so first is this, that in ray optics we can explain macroscopic phenomena, and through wave optics microscopic phenomena were explained. Okay, in ray optics, as it is clear by name only, the light was considered as a ray. So for ray optics, light was considered as rays, but in wave optics, light is considered to be a wave, and strictly talking, it is considered to be a electromagnetic wave. Okay, so in wave optics, while we will be studying this chapter, we will be considering in whole chapter the light as an electromagnetic wave. Okay, so to start with this chapter, wavefront. Okay, so wavefront is defined as the continuous locus of all the particles in medium which are vibrating at same phase. Okay, so before explaining this definition, you have two words here. First is locus and second is phase. So first of all let me explain these two words to you, then I will explain this definition. Okay, so a locus is a curve which is formed by joining all the points. Suppose if you have 5-6 points, when you join all of them you will get a curve. That curve which you form by joining the points is called locus. And phase tells about the position and direction of motion of particle at any instant with respect to mean position. That is, if you know phase of any particle, that means you know about the position and direction of the motion of particle at that particular point with respect to mean position. So this is the definition of locus and phase. Now let us understand the definition of wavefront. So continuous locus, or you can say continuous curve of all the particles in medium which are vibrating at same phase. That is, if you have some particles which are vibrating in same phase in a medium, and when you join all those particles, then you will forming a curve. That curve is nothing but it is wavefront. Okay, so let me give you example. It would be more clear with the example. So for example, consider this point, that is, we are supposing this is nothing but a point source. Okay, so now what happens, a source of light, because we are considering this point to be source of light, a source of light always sends out disturbance, or you can say waves, in all the directions. So this source of light will also be sending waves, or you can say disturbances, in all the directions. Okay, now we are considering the medium to be homogeneous. So by homogeneous medium, you mean that velocity of light waves in all the directions is same. So that means the velocity of the light waves which will be generating from this light source will be having same velocity. After that, what we have done, we have chosen these points, or you can say we have chosen these particles which are at the same distance from your point source. Okay, so we have considered two things. First, the medium is homogeneous, that is, the velocity of light waves in all the directions is same. And second thing, we are choosing all those particles which are at same distance from the light source. Okay, so if these particles are at same distance from the light source, that means disturbance will reach at the same time at all such particles, because see, velocity is also same, distance is also same. That means time traveled by the disturbance from here to here will also same for each particle. That means all of these particles will be vibrating in same phase. So by the definition of wavefront, if we form a locus by using all those particles which are vibrating in a same phase in a medium, we will get wavefront. So we have just confirmed that all these particles are vibrating in same phase. So now join them. So when you will join them, you will get a spherical wavefront. So this is called a spherical wavefront, which is for a point light source. Okay, so S is your point light source and this is your wavefront. So you can say when the source of light is the point source, the wavefront is a sphere. Okay, so or you can say we will get a spherical wavefront. So as you can see, this is nothing but the radius of this sphere. Therefore, all these distances will be same. Now one more thing, the light rays are always perpendicular to the wavefront. Now clearly look here, this is your wavefront, and as you know, the radius vector is always perpendicular to the circumference. That means all these rays are perpendicular to the wavefront. So these are nothing but light rays, because light rays are always perpendicular to wavefront. Therefore, we can say all these are nothing but light rays which are perpendicular to this spherical wavefront. So this is the thing about a point source. Now let us discuss what will happen when we have a linear source of light. So again, same theory will be applied here. Suppose this is your linear source, okay? So we will again be choosing those particles which are at same distance from the point source. So see, for this particular point, again we will be having a spherical wavefront, because this particular point will be behaving as a source, point source of light. Similarly, for this particular point, this will also be behaving as a point source of light. So we will be getting a spherical wavefront. Now for the points here, as you know, all the points lying here will be at the same distance from this. So therefore what you will be forming is nothing but a cylinder from this linear light source of light. So we can say for a linear source of light, or when the source of light is linear, then you will get a cylindrical wavefront. Okay. Now third one is for that when your light source is at very large distance. Okay. So when your light source is at very large distance, that means the parallel rays will be coming from that source, right? So for this, again, if these are the rays, and as I told you earlier, the wavefront is always perpendicular to the rays. So this will be the wavefront for the parallel rays when your light source is at a very large distance. Okay, so this is called a plane wavefront. Okay, so you can say when the point source or the linear source of light is at a very large distance, then we will get a plane wavefront. Okay, so these are the three different types of wavefront: spherical wavefront, cylindrical wavefront, and your plane wavefront. Okay, so now let us discuss one more thing. See, suppose these are the rays which are coming from any point from any distant source. These rays will be parallel, obviously. So these will be nothing but, I am just denoting plane wavefront by these dotted lines, because these lines will be perpendicular to these rays. So these dotted lines or planes represent the plane wavefront. Okay, similarly, if you have a diverging set of rays, see, these rays are diverging rays because they are moving in different directions. Now again, if you want to draw a wavefront, again we will be using the point that your light rays are always perpendicular to wavefront. So these curves will be formed which will be perpendicular to these rays at every point. Okay, so now as you can clearly see here, these wavefronts are going in this direction, that is from left to right, and as you can see they are extending. So you can say that this is nothing but a diverging wavefront. So from diverging rays you will be getting a diverging wavefront. Now if you have converging rays, now as you can see these all rays are meeting at a particular point here. So these rays are converging rays. Now if you draw a wavefront for them, again you will be getting these rays. Again these rays are wavefronts are also traveling from left to right, but as you can see now they are collapsing. So this will be a converging wavefront which will be generated from converging rays. Okay, so from parallel rays you will get a plane wavefront, from diverging rays you will get a diverging wavefront, and from converging rays you will get a converging wavefront. Okay, so this was all basics about waves and wavefront. Now we'll discuss very important principle in your wave optics, that is Huygens principle. Okay, so Huygens principle basically tells about how a wavefront travels further in a medium. Okay, suppose you have a wavefront. Now how will it be traveling in a medium? That was told by Huygens, and there were two principles which were called Huygens principle. Okay, so let us discuss them now. Okay, so the first point of Huygens was every point on given wavefront acts as a new source of disturbance called secondary wavelets. That is, to understand it, consider you have a wavefront AB. This is your given wavefront. Okay, so it says every point on given wavefront will act as a new source of disturbance which will be called secondary wavelets. Okay, so now these I have chosen these 4 points. So now that means these points which are chosen on the given wavefront will be acting as new source of disturbances. So as these are nothing but point sources, so therefore you will be getting you will be getting spherical wavelets from these, as I have told you just now. So these are nothing but secondary wavelets according to Huygens. Okay, so I am repeating it once again. Every point on a given wavefront acts as a new source of disturbance and it is called secondary wavelet. That is, wavefront through it will be secondary wavelets. So these are your secondary wavelets. Okay, now second point of Huygens was that a surface that touches these secondary wavelets tangentially in forward direction gives new wavefront called secondary wavefront. That is, again come to the diagram. Now you have drawn secondary wavelets. So according to Huygens' second principle, if you draw a line which is, or you can say a curve which is touching tangentially all these secondary wavelets, that is this one, this will be nothing but a, in forward direction, this will be nothing but a secondary wavefront. That is, a surface that touches the secondary wavelets tangentially in forward direction gives the new wavefront which is called secondary wavefront. So your AB is the given initial wavefront and A dash B dash is your secondary wavefront. Now a very interesting question arises here. Why is it that we are taking this secondary wavefront in forward direction? Why not in backward direction? Because as you can see, I can form a curve here also which will be tangential to these secondary wavelets. So that should also be a wavefront, but no. Wavefront is always propagated in forward direction, and the reason for that is because you see in the practicals also, whenever you have a light or whenever you light a torch, does the light travel in backward direction or forward direction? The light always travels in forward direction. That means there is no backward flow of energy during propagation of a wave. Okay, so therefore your wavefront will also propagate in forward direction only. So from these 2 points he had made some conclusions. So the first conclusion, I have already told you that there is no backward flow of energy during the propagation of a wave. The wavefront will only be propagating in forward direction always. Second point was that radius of diverging wavefront increases uniformly. Now see the wavefront that we have drawn, as you can see its radius is continuously going on increasing, and as we are going from left to right, again you can see this is nothing but a diverging wavefront. So that means the radius of diverging wavefront will be increasing uniformly as it travels through a medium. After that, third point was that wavefront is always propagated parallel to itself. That is, as you have seen also, when you will be drawing tangential curves on the secondary wavelets, that curve and your initial wavefront will be parallel to each other. That is, wavefront will always be propagated parallel to itself. Okay, so these were 3 main conclusions: that there is no backward flow of energy. Second is that radius of diverging wavefront goes on increasing uniformly as it propagates through the medium. And third is that the wavefront is always propagated parallel to itself. Okay. Now we will be discussing reflection and refraction on the basis of wave theory. Both the phenomena of ray optics can be explained by the wave theory of light. Okay, so first of all, let us consider reflection on the basis of wave theory. Okay, so for that, understand this diagram carefully first. This is nothing but a plane mirror. Okay, I have taken 2 rays, 1 and 2, which are incident on this mirror, on this plane mirror. Okay, so this is your incident light. Okay, now as you know, when they will strike the mirror, there will be reflection. So they have reflected in their respective directions. So this is your first ray which has reflected back, 1, and this is your second ray which is reflected back. Now I have drawn the rays here. As I told you, for the parallel rays we have a plane wavefront. So you can say AB is nothing but a plane wavefront which is incident on this mirror. Now see, when this point will reach here, okay, that is when A point will reach at B dash, in that time this B point will be reaching at A dash. Okay, listen it again. When A point will be reaching at B dash, this B point will be reaching at A dash. That is when you will join them, you will get the reflected wavefront. So your AB is the initial wavefront, or you can say incident wavefront, which is incident on this plane mirror, and A dash B dash is the reflected wavefront which is reflected from this plane mirror. Okay, so AB is the incident wavefront, A dash B dash is the reflected wavefront. Okay, so now as I told you, in time t, let us suppose time is t, so in time t point will be reaching at A dash, and in time t A will be reaching at B dash. And if we consider the speed of light to be c, that means AB dash, that is your this AB dash, this distance is speed into time, speed is c and time is t, so AB dash will be ct. Also BA dash, that will also be CT. So from here also you can say AB dash length will be equal to BA dash length, because they are in same medium. That means speed of light will also be same for them, and we have taken the same time also. Okay. Now as you can clearly know, this is the perpendicular or normal ray. So this is your incident ray. So this is your angle of incidence, right? Now this angle is 90 degree, because a wavefront is always parallel to a ray of light. So this is 90 degree, that means this angle will be 90 minus I. Again, this angle is also 90 degree. Now this full angle is 90 degree and this angle is 90 minus I. So you will be left with I here, right? That means this angle is I and this angle is also I. Similarly, if you draw a perpendicular ray or normal ray here, this will be your angle of reflection. Again, this will be 90 degree. So that means this angle will be 90 minus R. Again, this angle will be 90 degrees. And this is 90 minus R. That means again this will be R. So these angles are angle of incidence and angle of reflection. Okay. So to prove the reflection on the basis of wave theory, we have to prove these angles to be equal. That is, we have to prove that angle I is equal to angle R. So for that, let us consider the triangle AA-B, that is this triangle, and AA-B dash, this triangle. Okay. So we have considered triangle AA-B and AA-B dash. Now we will be proving that these two triangles are congruent by taking any three factors. Okay. So the first factor is that in both the triangles AA dash is common, as you can see here. Second point is that AB dash is equal to BA dash. This I have just told you, this is CT only. Second point, right? And third point is that angle B is equal to angle B dash. That is, both are 90 degrees, right? So these are the 3 points, that is AA dash is common in both the triangles. BA dash is equal to AB dash in both the triangles, and your angle B and angle B dash are equal. So you can say these two triangles are congruent, and therefore you can conclude that this angle will be equal to this angle. So here I have just written all the 3 points, and from these points you can conclude that angle I will be equal to angle R. That is your first law of reflection. Okay, so we have proved first law of reflection. Now further, as you can see, the incident wavefront AB and the reflecting surface, this one, right, and the reflected wavefront, that is your A-B dash, all are perpendicular to the plane of paper. Therefore, you can say incident ray, normal to the mirror, and reflected ray all will lie in the plane of paper, and this is nothing but second law of reflection. Okay, because your incident wavefront, your reflected wavefront, and your reflecting surface all are perpendicular to the plane of paper. Therefore, your incident ray, normal to the mirror, and reflected ray all will become in the plane of paper, and this is nothing but your second law of reflection. So we have proved reflection on the basis of wave theory. In the next lecture, we will be proving refraction on the basis of wave theory. So after going through today's lecture, you can do question number 1, 2 and 3 from your chapter number 10 of your NCERT book and go through the basics properly, because today we have discussed all the basics of wave optics. Okay, thank you.